The good old Ford Ranger Raptor. I reckon this is one of the most, how can you say it, like one of the greatest cars of the last 5 years, just in terms of business model, attraction, desirability. Ford saw that, you know, a lot of the Holden Commodore and Ford Falcon drivers or enthusiasts were moving to utes, so why not make a performance version of a ute? A lot of the rivals are aspiring to be like this. You know, they'll pick bits and pieces like the pumped out wheel arches or chunky tires, bash plates, even custom suspension and so on. This is the real deal. This is where it starts. And yeah, every single detail of this has been gone over and is pretty much ready for rally bashing or whatever you want to do. At the front, you've got Ford's sort of international or US style of printing across the front there, big Ford letters, bash plates underneath, no recovery points on the front, but you do have some on the back. And then check out these tires, mounted on 17-inch alloy wheels, proper chunky all-terrains, KO2, BF Goodrich. Yeah, they really rip up the mud. This thing's got 272 millimeters of ground clearance, so that's more than enough for common four-wheel drive tracks and so on. We'll take on the hill climb. That's the main reason I'm sort of reviewing this. We've done plenty of reviews of this over the years. It's been out for a while now, but yeah, I just want to attack the hill climb that I've been doing just to see how this shapes up. Obviously, well, it should get up there pretty easily, but we'll just see how it goes and just kind of rekindle with this beast. For 2025, you get a, I think it came in 2024 actually, you get a roller shutter, no dampers on the tailgate, just hit the button around the side here, and then you can hit the button again if you want it to stop, and it will start coming back the other way. You've got tie down hooks, some at the front there, although they're not going to be able to access those that well with that big roller shutter. So it does take up a little bit of room, if you're wondering. Like that's almost a foot of room there. So you can't utilize that space unless it goes underneath, obviously. You do have some lights in the tray area as well. A power socket, just 12 volt, 180 watts max, and then a full plastic tub liner. You still have these little tabs here, so you can put a G-clamp or something in there and hold your tools or whatever you want to do. You do have some slots if you want to just put some blocks of wood in there or something just to divide it up a little bit. The most important element to this though, in my opinion anyway, is what's underneath. The suspension and the bash plates and all that sort of extra hardware. This features a sort of Series 2 version of the Fox Racing suspension, but in my opinion, I reckon the first generation Raptor with the diesel engine was a little bit more comfortable and it had a bit more of a sort of dynamic range, I guess. If you could imagine like a bar, you know, performance up this end and comfort down this end, the bar that it covers has sort of been pushed up more towards the performance end, in my opinion anyway. Like this can probably handle jumps and smash through all sorts of ruts and so on, better than the previous setup, like with more wheel control. But in terms of sheer comfort, I think the old model was a little bit more comfortable. This is still really comfortable compared with other utes on the market. Absolutely, like you could take this for a nice family drive. No one's going to complain, but I'm just saying, like compared with the previous gen, if you've got a previous gen, I think this is a little bit more sporty. And then inside, I reckon the Ford Ranger, the latest generation, is probably the best cabin. Like it's just practical, it's got little shelves and so on everywhere, wireless charger, cup holders, plenty of space, nice big center console box, and a good mixture of trimmings and materials. Like you've got this kind of wetsuit material across the dash, scratchy plastic or hard plastic at the back. It's not too cheap feeling, but yeah, more of this wetsuit material along here, vinyl or whatever, and then just this harder plastic down below where you're going to be scuffing it with your feet and so on. It does have electric seats. So these are the main difference over the regular Ranger. Nice big chunky seats, nice side bolsters for your hips, but the actual lower section is not that steep. Like it doesn't hold your legs in as well as some sports seats out there. But yeah, overall it's an awesome cabin. I love the way that Ford hasn't gone over the top with the orange detailing. It's just a little bit subtle, just to let you know, yep, this is a sports model or performance model. Great driving position as well. I've got complete adjustment from the steering, including up and down, in and out. It feels like I'm in an SUV or almost a wagon, although I'm pretty perched up. You do have the auxiliary switches up above there as well, so if you want to hook up extra accessories, Ford has kind of pre-wired some areas of the bodywork, so you'll find when you're digging around putting in LED lights, there'll be some wires there, and then you can connect it up and just use those switches to activate. And in the back, yeah, it's a decent size space for this class. You've got a pop-down armrest with cup holders, climate vents, and USB-C-A ports for charging. Mat pockets in both of the front seats as well. And once you're up here, sorry about that sun, it's very low this morning. I've got heaps of room. Like, this is probably one of the most spacious for this style, like excluding big American pickup trucks and so on. I've got more than enough leg room. My head's nowhere near the ceiling. There's actually a little cutaway in the ceiling as well. And even getting out, some utes, my head gets close to the pillar or the roof there, and yeah, even for my height, 170 centimeters, whereas that's nowhere near. I'm not going to hit that when getting out. The baby seat anchor points are behind the seat, which is great. I like that better than the loop through system with the hook in the middle. And they're mounted a little bit low down as well, so you can tension it up with some slack there. But yeah, that's the best combination in my opinion. Some people might like the central hook for baby seats, but I reckon that's the best setup because you've still got some slack there, as I said, so you can tension it right up, but you don't have to fiddle around with feeding it through a little loop. All right, let's go for a drive and see what this beast can do. All right, to start with, I've just got it in sport mode and I've got the exhaust in the quiet mode. I don't think the exhaust modes actually make any difference. There's 4 different modes you can go through and they don't sound all that different. I prefer just the quiet mode. It's just a little bit less kind of tinny, I suppose you could say, but as I said, it's not a huge difference, and it's not until you get under full load and you're standing outside the vehicle that you'll notice the difference. But from inside the car, it kind of sounds the same. I've got it still in rear-wheel drive mode, and we'll put it in manual mode as well. So you've still got that, you know, barky sort of crisp note. That's just the doors locking, and you can tell this is a performance machine. It's just not quite as barky as the Baja mode. It feels good around corners. You can actually drift it a little bit as well, leaving it in rear-wheel drive. And interestingly, you can lock the diff the rear diff in rear-wheel drive mode. So that just shows that Ford has thought of everything. You know, they've been testing and whatever, and thought, hang on a minute, it'd be good if you could lock the diff at the back so you can perform some rally drifts and so on without having to go into 4-wheel drive. You do have the 4A mode as well, so you can drive on tarmac with 4-wheel drive. If you just want to have that extra grip, which is good. Not many utes do that. They either go into 4H, basically locking the front and center together, and you can't really drive on tarmac, or you can if you want to, but you might wind up the axle and break something. You've got a 3-litre twin-turbo V6 under the bonnet, 292 kilowatts, 583 newton meters, which is about perfect for a vehicle like this. It's quick when it needs to be. I guess a bit more capacity would be good, like a bit more torque, because this does weigh just under 2.5 tons. This engine would be nice in like a little sports car or a sports sedan or something like that, or even a modern Ford Falcon. But yeah, in a big vehicle like this, I feel like a 3.5 litre or something might be a bit nicer in terms of being able to offer better fuel economy when you're cruising along, because this officially averages 11.5. I'm currently doing 13.6, which is quite high. The best I got out of it on the highway was about 12.5, 12.6, although you probably can get it lower than that. But the official highway consumption is 10 even. So that's not bad, but I think you'd have to pump up the tyres and yeah, just really maximize efficiency to get that. I'll give it the full beans. There's a bit of roll at the front and the tyres definitely roll over a little bit. Those big balloony tyres. But it's very playful, very engaging. It never feels surprising, if that makes sense. Like I'm giving it full power and just pushing it around here. I expect it to understeer a little bit. It's not really understeer actually, it's just the tyre rolling over more. The front end of the latest Ranger is really good for a ute in my opinion. Like it doesn't roll too much over in the corner. And then this is obviously tensioned up even more being the Raptor. But how cool is this? Like, you can drive this like a sports car, go for a nice drive, but also pick up some horse shit on the way home to the farm, you know? Like, it's got multiple personalities and multiple capabilities. And it's lots of fun. That's the main thing. It is serious fun pretty much in every area. Even the interior, as I said, it's got that practicality appeal, but then it's just turned up a bit with the Raptor treatment. Okay, here we are at the hill climb. It's very steep. It might not look like it on camera. I know I keep saying this. If you've watched my videos before, I've just got to say it again in case someone's watching for the first time. It is very steep, and it's got like ruts and mogul things on it that really push the flexibility of the suspension around and the drive system and the traction management. To start with, I'm just going to leave it in rear-wheel drive mode just for fun. I've got it in sport mode. I'll leave the stability control and traction control on, but I'll just try and lock the rear diff. I think that's going to cause it to go into some traction mode. Oh no, the rear diff is locked. All I've done is gone into sport mode. That's it. I'm still in two-wheel drive. You can see here as well, that goes all orange when you flick it to four-wheel drive. Let's just see. This is just for fun. I wouldn't recommend doing this. I usually attack this for the first time in 4A or 4H just to see how things go. Again, I probably wouldn't recommend that. You're better off going straight into low range to slow the wheels down. But I just like to see where vehicles stand in terms of their capability and sort of the benchmark. So remember, this is in 2H, so high range. Just the diff is locked at the back. And it's just going up there, no worries. Okay, now we'll try maximum attack mode. So I've got it in the rock crawl drive mode, and I've got the front and rear diffs locked, and I'm in low range. So four-wheel drive now. This should pretty much walk up here, considering it went up in rear-wheel drive. I don't even have to take a line, really. I reckon I could just point it wherever and it will go straight up. But let's see. Over that big rock. That's not the line I usually take. That's worse. It's just, yeah, walked straight up. With both diff locks, you do have a tighter turning circle, understandably. I mean, you could turn the wheel a little bit more, but I have a bit of mechanical sympathy, and I don't like to wind it right up, tension it right up. So I'll just leave it there. I've still got some lock, but I'll just back up. As you'd expect, this thing is an absolute machine off-road. Didn't scrub out, didn't really slip the tyres at all. The big chunky tyres obviously help. So I'll go up that right-hand side line now and see how it goes. Before we do, we'll go down this little ditch. So this is actually more aggressive than it looks. On the right-hand side here, it really drops away suddenly. It's almost like a step. And some side steps scrape out just here once the front drops down. We've got the back wheel right in the air, but it didn't scrape the side step at all. Up this side now, we've got steep moguls that are kind of diagonally placed. So two diagonal wheels are going to be compressed, the other two are going to be really bottomed out. So it's going to test the suspension flexibility as well as the drive system capability. I've just got it still in the rock crawl mode, low range, front and rear diffs locked. As I said, this is quite steep as well. This is quite a large vehicle. Listen out for any side steps scraping. No. Yeah, no issue whatsoever. It's just gone up there. Probably the best vehicle that's gone up there, I reckon, in my testing over the time I've been here. Like, that's just walked up both of them as you'd expect. It's got the best tires, excellent ground clearance, front and rear diff locks. It's got everything that you possibly could need for serious off-roading. On the way down, we'll try out the trail control. Actually, I'll just line it up a little bit better than that. I've got the front diff lock unlocked, just so I've got a better turning circle. You don't really need to lock the diffs when you're going down things. So it's feet off the pedals, and it's just gradually taking me down. It's not catching it, it's got full control. Gradually going down. I've still got steering. I don't feel nervous at all. It's just, yeah, going very, very well. Doing its job. Yeah, I think that's one of the best things about this vehicle. It's got all these gadgets and so on that you can play around with. Nice screens, so you've got good graphics there. Little inclinometer thing, so you can see how steep it is. And your graphics down here to show you what mode you're in and all of that. Front and rear diff locks, as I said. The camera, so you can see where you're going. And then your drive mode toggle down there as well. I reckon, you know, aside from the capability, which is unquestionable, just having the ability to play around, like just then I went up there in rear wheel drive just to see what happens and see how it copes. You know, you can do that if you buy one of these and just play around and just go out for an adventure one day and try out all the different modes. I think that does bring an extra dimension to this sort of segment. It's not just a dual cab ute that can go off-road. You can play around and try different settings. All right, let's go out now and do the performance test and see how it goes. I'm not expecting any change over the previous tests that I've done. A little bit colder at the moment, but yeah, I don't think it'll be any difference. But let's just try it out anyway. I'm in the sport mode, but I've got the exhaust in Baja mode. That's why it says off-road use only, but I'm still in 4A. The diffs are not locked. Okay, now I'll try a run in full Baja mode, although just keep in mind this is not useful or meant to be used on the tarmac, but I'm just going to keep the steering straight and flick back into sport mode when I need to turn around.